Uh, Good evening. My name is Benjamin Campbell, and this is my critical reflections for Aice Media Studies. Question 1. How does your media product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? My media product follows conventions. One use that my magazine follows conventions is because my magazine uses cover lines um, that Modern Dog uses, such as 10 things you can do to improve your dog's lifespan. Um, for those conventions, my magazine followed that because I used 10 bonding tricks. Another cover line they used was socialize your puppy. I did top 10 places to nap. As you can see, the lead article says work that brain. We could tell that because of the font and also because of the the big text. So I decided to do the same, which I wrote beyond the leash, everything you need to know about man's best friend. Another way that my magazine follows conventions is because I decided to use a barcode, which allows my audience to be able to purchase this media product online. Um, Modern Dog also used a barcode as well. Another reason why my magazine follows conventions is because um, it utilizes a dateline for which the magazine was a byline, dateline that my magazine was published. As you can see, it says February 2024. And in Modern Dog, they also have published in spring of 2023, I think. And um, my magazine also follows conventions because it also utilizes a masthead, just like Modern Dog. Mine says Dog World, and theirs says Modern Dog. Another way that my magazine follows conventions is because in my table of contents, I utilized the page, the number, like the page numbers that my stories were. So this one said, "Free at last, hundreds of poodles released from illegal breeders." As you can see in their table of contents for a dog magazine, they also utilize page numbers. They also utilize uh, stories on their table of contents. They one reason that my magazine, sorry, I should say one way that my magazine did not follow conventions, which it challenged them, were because uh, they utilized social media and also utilized printing, like the company that prints it. I never utilized it because I felt that I didn't have the ability to utilize social media for my media product due to my media product wanting to be more of a not digital, like between digital and like um, digital and um, like in person. So my magazine would also be published online, but also in person rather than just being online, which is why I didn't utilize social media. Also because I didn't know how to. Um, my magazine also challenges conventions because it utilizes a double page spread, just like how they did. It utilizes a subject. It utilizes a main story of my story on how to protect your pet. So this story was about how to keep your dog safe in Florida, and it talked about how dogs are very susceptible to sickness, and also that you need to make sure that you keep a dog on a leash and make sure that if you decide to go on a late night walk to be alert at all times. Um, they also utilize their double page spread with a subject and also a story. So my magazine follow that convention as well. How does your magazine represent social groups or issues? One way that my magazine represents social groups or issues is that it features stories about the dog communities, whether it is a veterinarian talking about certain medicines to treat an infection, or it could talk about certain health, certain tips to treat your dog with them being sick, or it could just be a pet owner talking about the daily life of how um, they raise their dogs. On it could talk about how um, recommended times for walking your dog outside, or what to give them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Another way my magazine represents social groups is it talks about articles featuring animal shelters, animal adoption. This is a big issue because this raises awareness for animal cruelty, uh, which is a big issue in the dog community. So this represents a social issue that um, my magazine faces, or I mean not faces, but it shows. My project also represents social groups because it showcases dog events and opportunities to volunteer for charity events, adoption drives, and fundraising. It also represents the health issues that affect dogs every day, such as obesity, nutrition, and vet care. So my magazine represents these issues because it would talk about how to combat obesity, which would be changing the dog's diet, giving them more walks, um, maybe also affecting the ability of how to sleep, giving them less or more sleep based on the breed, based on the age, based on how old the dog are, if they're in their puppies, if they're in their seniors, if they are just in their teens, um, and their vet care, of course. So all three of these ways, or all three of these details, all all represent social groups and social issues that are faced with every day. How does your magazine product engage audiences, and how would it be distributed as real world text? Well, my magazine um, engages the audience um, because it offers informative and entertaining articles, features, and stories that keep the audience wanting to find out what's next. Um, this would be anything about stories, like I said earlier, about veterinarians, about dog owners, about training tips, about certain popular people that you may see on social media that are trainers, very, very popular trainers that um, basically talk about how to fix the issue with trying to control your dog, or trying not control your dog, but how to properly train them. My media product also utilizes high quality photography that captures the audience's attention. Whether this is an informing story in my magazine, or my subject that's on the front cover, this can engage the audience because it allows them to feel like they are looking at something that is beautiful, which would be my magazine, of course. It allows them to feel connected to the magazine, and it allows them to stay engaged because of the photography that keeps them wanting to find out what's next. But it also gives them a sense of um, being connected with the magazine and feeling in a calm state of mind because my media product uses those photographs, such as the, my subject on the main cover. Um, as you can see, it also utilizes my same subject in the table of contents. I'm sorry, my double page spread. Um, my media product also uses interactive elements such as quizzes, crosswords, and polls that keep the audience hooked. So originally, I was debating this, but I thought to myself, um, lots of magazines um, that I looked at had um, dog magazines had polls in them. So I thought to myself, if I use this, this would make my magazine engage an audience. So by utilizing quizzes that would talk about, that would quiz you on certain breeds of dogs, or certain things that dogs and humans can and cannot do, would allow for the audience to want to get connected more with the dog, which would ultimately allow that, which would ultimately allow um, for the main phrase you hear that a dog is a man's best friend be utilized. Like I said earlier, it also features crosswords because crosswords would be set up for the reader to stay there for 20 minutes to an hour, just spending time filling out and also learning while having fun. It also uses polls, like I said. I'm just saying more, like elaborating on it so you can better understand. It uses polls that would have an important question and it would show a certain percentage of who agrees with it and who disagrees with the audience. This would ultimately keep my audience hooked, which is what I want for my media product to go to become successful. How I would distribute my media product. Well, one way I would distribute my uh, media product project through real world text is I would use subscription services, bookstores such as Barnes and Nobles, and pet stores such as Pet Supermarket, Petco, um, any pet store that you go to would have my magazine from when you come in or when you're outside. You know, usually when you're outside and you see like a pair of clothes or something on in front of the window, it would have my magazine on there, which would want people, you know, they would read the magazine, they would come in, see it, and maybe I mean buy my magazine. So that's one way I would distribute it. Um, this would allow for readers to purchase an annual subscription at that pet store or at Barnes and Nobles, at any place to stay up to date with my media project. This would allow the audience to be able to have the newest of information, have any new discoveries of certain medications that work for dogs, or any new discoveries that you can't find on the internet that are by famous veterinarians in that in my magazine. My magazine would also have a digital presence. Um, this would allow for my audience to buy digital copies of my magazine through online platforms such as Magster, which is an online platform where you can buy magazines. Um, my magazine would also participate in dog shows, adoption fairs, and charity walks, which could allow for my magazine to be distributed there. So imagine you are a person and you're adopting a dog, or you're at a dog show and you see my magazine. When you're adopting a dog, my magazine tells you when you get your first dog, um, tips you should do with your first dog. So it can tell them about certain beds to buy, certain foods to stay away from, how long you should be walking them based on their age, based on their breed, based on um, age, breed, and height. Um, this is a big factor because it can fix obesity in dogs, and it can ultimately challenge um, taking all the taking all the bad like side effects of um, a dog. You know, dogs have a life expectancy that's only about 10 years, so this would be able to allow their um, life expectancy to go up with my media project. So my media project would also be allowing uh, for life expectancy of dogs to go up, because this would raise awareness about that. Um, by using a combination of digital, print, and social media, it allows for my magazine to reach a wide audience of people who enjoy the company of dogs, and ultimately make my media project best magazine out there. So let me elaborate on this. Um, like I said earlier, my magazine would be featured in digital and print. Now, social media is such as TikTok, such as Instagram, is a big thing that is used in everyone's daily lives. So if my magazine is on there, there's a high chance that a lot of people are going to see the magazine, and um, ultimately it'll allow my magazine to prosper and grow over time. Um, thank you. I mean, not thank you. Sorry. Thank you for giving me the time to explain this. The audience for my dogs, or sorry, for my dog magazine are typically someone who has a dog or is considering getting one. Um, my magazine would show information about dog care, tips, health advice, and product recommendations. I tailor my magazine by utilizing a wide range of topics that include articles about certain breeds. It also reflects the dog community by showing people from different backgrounds as well as different ages, different breeds, different ages and abilities. Um, my magazine also offers a unique value to my audience as a one-stop resource for all things dog related. It also collaborates with professionalists and experts to provide accurate and up-to-date statistics of information. Um, yeah, thank you. Question 3. How did your production skills develop over the course of this project? Well, one way that my production skills developed was using Photopea. Um, this year, we learned how to utilize Photopea by removing a background, by selecting the magic wand tool, and um, being able to remove this background. That way, we take our subject without having a yellowish background. We also utilize Photopea for our magazine by learning how to use Photopea not only to remove images, but to edit mastheads, to edit my front cover, also just to do simple editing. Um, I never used Photopea before, so it was kind of challenging because if you never have used any photo editing software, it could be very, very hard and challenging to try to analyze what you want to do. Another thing I learned was the image, how to change the image size. This helped me a lot because towards building my front cover, it allowed me to change the dimensions of my width and my height of the image. Also, I could change the aspect ratio of the screen. Another way that I utilized this was the font because I learned on thefont.com how to put fonts in Photopea. I also learned how to select the font I want to use and download it. Um, Another way was framing. So this was a framing shot. I had used a toilet paper roll and put it in front of the camera, my phone camera, to take a picture of my subject. So this would be an example of a framing shot. Another framing could be, not framing, sorry, but another camera could be rule of thirds and depth of field, which depth of field is very, very important when trying to, you know, use my, trying to use my subject for it. So depth of field, it's just when the distance between my subjects and the nearest and farthest objects are, which would be, my subject and the camera. So I guess the example in this picture could just be my dog, and the farthest object from her could just be this binder over here. So yeah, thank you. Hello, my name is Benjamin Campbell. I am in Aice Media Studies, and this is the final question. This is how did I integrate technology, software, and hardware into my projects? I utilize the following technologies to develop my projects by using thefont.com, Photopea, Google, and my iPhone 13. So basically, I use Photopea to edit Photopea for my front cover, my magazine, my masthead. I also utilize using like thefont.com to use the Mango font for my masthead. I use that font also for like just because it looked like it would be a good font to bring my attention, to bring readers' attention. I should say the audience's attention to my magazine. I use Google to access Google sites. I use it for to you know integrate in my audience like demographics and all that stuff regarding my audience. I gathered information from Google just to get a better feel for what people who have dogs or who own an animal such as a dog or just like to read about dogs, what they would like about those magazines. Um, I also utilize my iPhone 13 for my photo shoot. I took pictures of my subject. I took pictures of um, the subjects for my front cover, for my double page spread, um, also my main cover. Um, Also, going into my next, I use the hardware for a laptop. This goes into my challenges presented, which I had to utilize a laptop at school. We didn't have any MacBooks or MacBook Pros, like a big PC, so I used a laptop from school to build my project. I also used a laptop at home. It's called a Lenovo ThinkPad. I used this laptop to build my presentation as well. I also had used things like Brush Easy to uh, make my what do you call it? My main cover. I use Brush Easy for like cover purposes. I utilized um, I utilized um, things like PowerPoint as well to make this presentation to show Cambridge. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you giving me the ability to explain this.